Gabo News. 3 News. News at your fingertips.
What has rendered me in this condition? Staggering hardship Kwekuba have had to go through in Libya. The situation in Libya is so bad. Any day we don't get a flight to return home, a Ghanaian dies in the camp.
They decided to go on their own, guys. But unfortunately, they say a gas burst in their apartments, and there were 3 in the room. One of them lost his life through the burns, but the 2 of them, this is how their conditions are.
As though his story was not enough, we discovered Brian, who walks through other arrivals of the Kotoka International Airport, heaving a sigh of relief, fully prepared for his return, which he has been seeking for the past 6 months.
Okay, before desert in the core.
Going to Libya, I was 14 years and I used the desert. While going on a 3 weeks journey, I was eating gari and bread.
Okay, you did gari, and a pan only biscuits.
Conflict has left the North African country disintegrated and now dangerous to live in. This video obtained from the returnees shows the experiences of some Africans who are rounded up by these unidentified soldiers, robbed of their property at gunpoint. TV3 cannot independently verify the authenticity of this video, but the returnees confirmed what they go through. You work and they pounce on you and rob you of all you have worked for. The Libyan ambassador to Ghana, Abuaisha Yahya, who was spotted at the airport, will not confirm or deny these allegations. Migration experts have chided the foreign ministry for not doing a proper screening and stock of these returnees.
That the country should have a concerted approach towards encouraging return, readmission, and reintegration. So government has specific roles to play, as the policy have highlighted.
For many of these returnees, coming back home is the greatest joy.
Despite seeking greener pastures, but for them, home would always be home, and they will seek better conditions of living here in Ghana. Communal, TV3 News, Accra.
All right, so that shocking story seemed to come up every now and then. Every year we have Ghanaians who are forcing themselves to go to Libya and other countries for greener pastures. But then when they get there and the reality hits them in the face, then they want to come home. There are questions arising. Why would you want to blame government for not doing anything to bring you back? Was it government that sent you there? No. But then, on the score of diplomacy, there are those who are saying that a lot depends on the government to ensure that every Ghanaian is safe everywhere around the world. So whereas there are issues coming up almost every time, the Ghanaian government must act. With these over 300 returnees, they arrived last night, and Komla Kluche was there, brought us images and voices of some of these persons who have expressed satisfaction at the fact that at least their feet have touched the soil of Ghana, where freedom and justice and peace prevails. But they will never advise anyone to go to Libya. Some of them indicated that even at Libya, while they were waiting to get a flight back to Ghana, some people were dying at the camps, and they had to even stay there with the corpse. It took them a few days before they were able to get this flight back home. It is still an unfolding story, because we are yet to get what the Foreign Affairs Ministry has to say on this subject. And when we do get their thoughts, we'll bring it to you. But at least you could tell that many of those who returned were excited, but their only difficulty was that they didn't have family members welcoming them at the airport. TV3 will keep you posted on later developments. This is still Midday Live on TV3. Let's turn our attention to some other stories. Now, the remains of the 3 persons killed as a result of the renewed clashes between the people of Alavanyo and Inkonya have been laid to rest. The 3, Henry Adoko, 40, Richard Mausi Donko, 30, and 15-year-old Alma Abisi, were shot and killed by unknown gunmen.
40-year-old Henry Akondo and Richard Mausi Donko, 30, met their untimely death on Wednesday, April 19, when they went tapping palm wine. They were suspected to have been shot by unknown gunmen at a close range, dropping death instantly. The incident led to a renewed and indiscriminate shooting from the disputed land between the Nkonyas and Alavanyos. An intensified shooting late Friday afternoon led to the death of 15-year-old Alma Abisa, who was out on the street to buy sugar for her mother. Calm was later restored in the area following the increase in security presence and surveillance. The remains of the deceased were later laid to rest on Thursday, April 27, in line with the tradition and custom of the people of Nkonya. One of the deceased, Henry Akondo, is survived by a wife and 3 children.
I was told he was injured and was rushed to the Rara hospital. His death was later confirmed to me. He is everything to us. I need help to take care of the children and their education.
The paramount queen of the Nkonya traditional area, Nana Otubia, used the occasion to call for justice for her people.
As you can see, the wife and the children. He's the sole breadwinner of the family. So now that he's no more, we are appealing to the government and anybody who has their interests at heart to come to their aid.
She warned of dire consequences if the security fails to ensure justice is served to the letter.
Now, in a related development, the Interior Minister Asiedu-Dartey says the current violence at on the Nkonya land will be the last of its kind, as government is determined to deal permanently with the issue. The Interior Minister, however, called on the feuding factions to cooperate with the police for permanent peace.
Even though the conflict between the people of Nkonya and Alavanyo is not new in Ghana, the incident on April 19 came as a surprise to many peace lovers. The Interior Minister Asiedu-Dartey was worried at the latest killings in Nkonya, but thinks this is the time to solve the problem.
I think it should become increasingly clear to all concerned that fighting will not resolve the matter. Because if fighting could, they would have done so in 94 years. So we need to change the approach and begin to engage each other, be more conciliatory, and above all, have in our minds the development for our people.
Encouraged the chiefs and people of the 2 traditional areas to lead the way for peace.
We are more concerned, most interested in the people reconciling. For instance, now, studies have been disrupted for the students there, and candidates who are going to write the same exam with their peers all over the country. I'm appealing to all concerned that we should come together and see how we can work this.
He said several options are available, including the seizure of the disputed land, if that is seen as the solution to the problem.
Yes, people have come up with a number of suggestions. We're not ruling anything out, but if it is the best and there is considerable consensus that is the best, we could consider it. But for now, we are appealing for peace so that our children can go about their schooling. We are appealing for peace so that people can go about their duties. We are appealing for peace so that Mr. President can implement, make good his promises to Ghanaians, including the people of Alavanyo and Nkonya.
All right, so we'll stay with this particular subject a while longer, because we know that when it has to do with resolution of conflicts, chiefs play a major role. Now, a former chieftaincy minister, Dr. Asiedu-Dartey, has stressed on the importance and relevance of chieftaincy institutions in Ghana. Speaking to 3FM's morning show host, that is Winston Amoa, Dr. Dartey told him about the conflict resolution powers of chiefs and indicated that they actually predated constitutional rule.
Our traditions, our customs, our distance. That is we. That's. I mean, where you come from, there's no Ghanaian who doesn't come from a traditional area. And when you come from a tradition, it means you have some cultural background. And that's what makes us we. So chieftaincy is like our natural understanding of authority. And that is why if you go to other African countries who have not been so lucky as we in Ghana, who have had to find themselves in turmoil, political turmoil leading to wars, anytime that the conflicts, the attempt is made to get the matters resolved, whom have they used? Traditional rulers, chiefs, because it gets to a point that the politicians is like they're on each other's throats. Either it's NDC, MPP, or it's what. But for chiefs, they are chiefs. So that's one advantage. It's relevant. It's like a backup tier of authority. It's relevant. Then another one is people must remember that there are certain parts of this country. You go there, and there is no policeman there, there's no soldier there. There's no DCE. If you have trouble, where are you going to? You are going to where? The palace. So can you tell me that it's not relevant? It is relevant.
So that's former Chieftaincy Minister Dr. Asiedu-Dartey in an interview with 3FM's Winston Amoah. What we would want you to know is that the full interview will be aired on 3FM Sunrise, that's a morning show, on Monday. So do make a date and get the full details of what Dr. Asiedu-Dartey has to say. And that was actually an exclusive to TV3 and 3FM. Let's turn our attention to some other stories. And you can see behind me a story we've been following for you in the last few days. It has been established that state vehicles have been auctioned at very low prices to individuals. The Ministry of Health and Agric are two of the main ministries cited in this particular case. This was uncovered during the sitting of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament on Thursday. The officials initially disputed the findings of the Auditor General with regard to the auctioning of 9 state vehicles in 2012 as captured in the 2015 Auditor General's report. And we brought you some of the pictures and the amounts that were some of the vehicles were sold for. Shocking amounts, very surprising amounts. And there are those who are saying that if they had even known that that is how much these vehicles were going to be costing, they would also have probably, placed a bid for these vehicles. But it looks like it's not something that was made public, and it is part of the reasons why this has gone, this has come up for public discussion. So, the surprising factor is that a Nissan Patrol, and if you look at the dates of manufacturing of those vehicles were not even in the 90s. These are recent vehicles, as recent as probably 5, 7, 10 years ago. And a Nissan Patrol has been sold for 4,000 Ghana cedis. That's a registration number. So it's not as if we are making it up. 4,000 Ghana cedis. A Nissan double cabin pickup with this registration number, GV1481U, also went for 2,000 Ghana cedis. How cheap can that be? Mitsubishi double cabin pickup went for 1,000 Ghana cedis, and a Galaxy motorbike was sold for 30 Ghana cedis. In a related development, an FY motorcycle was also sold for 50 Ghana cedis, and those are state vehicles. And there's what has just come in, an ambulance, which the state purchased for the Ghana Health Service, was sold for paltry 350 Ghana cedis, and also a motorbike going for 170 Ghana cedis. The surprise factor here is that who were those that auctioned the vehicles and who were those that bought them? So would want to dig a bit further into this and see how the auctioneers value vehicles before they sell it out. And my colleague, Kwabena Dijemfi, is currently at the STC, State Transport Corporation, and is having an interview with an auctioneer there to let us know what goes into auctioning, especially state vehicles.
Thank you very much, Martin. Now, the controversy surrounding the sale of state vehicles here in Ghana, particularly we are talking about the state vehicles, seem like one which is not coming to an end anytime soon, because the latest on such issue is the fact that the Public Accounts Committee is faulting the Ministry of Health for selling 25 state vehicles and some 140 motorbikes. And what they are saying is that this breaches the Public Regulatory Commission's. It breaches the financial administration's regulations, and because of that, we are here at Intercity STC to find out the valuation processes, how it actually goes through before a vehicle is auctioned or before it's sold to anyone, be it a government official, be it a staff of any government institution. So we'll be looking into that, the processes that it has to go through before it finally gets out there to the final consumer. And I have with me here the head of technical services here at STC, Mr. Kojo Bani Glory. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to Midday Live on TV3.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, tell us, this issue comes up like every now and then. We hear of state vehicles being sold to people, sometimes or most times at a very cheap price, and becomes a whole lot of issue. Now, tell us, what are the processes that a vehicle that has to go through before it's being sold to the final consumer?
Thank you very much for the questions. Intercity STC serves as a state valuer under the PNDC law 230. Under the PNDC law 230. Under that law, we value state vehicles, government agencies, other institutions, as well as private individuals. Okay. A letter is written and sent to STC, the managing director of Intercity STC, for any valuation that is done, whether it is state or private or individuals. The managing director directs this to the head of technical services, who oversee the evaluation department. And what normally happens is that the head of department determines what kind of valuation that is done. Is it for maintenance allowance? Okay. Is it for a loan? Is it for collateral? Okay. So he would mean it to the head of the section, the evaluation section, to select an officer who is capable of handling it. Okay. Now, there are procedures that are followed. First, we want to know what is the total cost of the vehicle when it was purchased. Okay. And then, at what time, what is the exchange rate at the time it was purchased. Okay. So we use those, and then what is the capacity of the vehicle itself. All these are all these are criteria, and also the mileage it has covered. Okay. So then, the day of the valuation, what is the exchange rate? So all these things are factored in. Then now, the condition of the vehicle itself, what is the physical condition and the mechanical condition. Okay. After all these things are assessed, calculation is done and a value is placed. Okay. So now when the value is placed, who signs the final document? Now the final document is signed by the head of valuation, okay, in behalf of the managing director of the company. Okay. In all our stations. Okay. Now, I understand that there is this man here who directly handles the valuation of vehicles. Can you please join me, sir? And then he'll be telling us, most importantly, how often do we get state vehicles come in here for valuation? Good afternoon and welcome to Midday Live on TV3, sir.
You are welcome, sir. Okay, yeah. State vehicles also form part of the customers, the clients. Which comes here for valuation. We receive a number of valuations from the departments and the units. And averagely, weekly, we do about 50 and over. Okay. And it depends upon the demand and the position of the government particular units, okay, as to the number of vehicles that have been boarded over there required to be disposed of, okay, for the purposes of which they know for themselves. Okay, so do you value only state vehicles or private vehicles as well? No, we value private, individuals, non-governmental institutions, NGOs, and the diplomats, that's the embassies, and the government department and the financial institutions, the banks, and the microfinance are also part of the financial institutions, which we take care of them when they need valuation to be done.
So in 2016, if you have the figures right, how many state vehicles were brought here for valuation?
State vehicles, I can say for now, are not less than 400 vehicles.
That was in 2016?
2016, yes, because the departments are a lot. If you take the ministries and other government institutions and units that are also operated under the arms of the government. So basically, that's what I can say.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have been talking on the issue of valuation of state vehicles and private institutions and what it actually goes through before it gets to the next consumer. My name is Kwabna Edu-Jemfi for TV3 News. Over to you, Newsap.
All right, thank you very much, Kwabna Edu-Jemfi. And I am a bit taken aback looking at the numbers that we're told. About 400 state vehicles are brought for valuation and then subsequent auctioning. And as to what goes into how much a vehicle costs is also, you know, the man who Kwabna Edu-Jemfi spoke to gave a few items they look out for: the mileage, the current condition of the car, and all of that. But really, if I buy a car in, let's say, 2009, or it's a 2009 model, and then I use it for 2 years, what goes into valuation? It's not had an accident, the fuel consumption is okay, the interior, exterior all look good. Are those enough for the car to go for maybe just you know, a few cedis lesser than I bought it? We'll be speaking to an auctioneer, or the president of the Ghana Auctioneers Association, to find out how they evaluate cars and then how they do the auctioning. But for the state vehicles that were sold, one other key surprising factor was that they were asked whether even the tire of the ambulance that was sold for 350 cedis was not even more expensive. The tire under the vehicle was not more than the vehicle itself. We would keep an eye on this and let you know details when it unfolds. We move to some other stories now. The Abekan District Court has dismissed an application for a submission of no case filed by lawyers for the Abelimpe branch manager of the Mawako restaurant who assaulted an employee, Evelyn Boachi. The court, presided over by Victoria Gansa, insisted that prosecution has established a prima facie case against the accused, Jihad Shaban.
Lead counsel for Jihad Shaban, Ulio de Medeiros, told the court that the prosecution had failed to substantiate any of the charges put against the accused. On the count of assault, lawyer de Medeiros intimated that intent of causing harm was critical in establishing the charge. Quoting from the court's records of the cross-examination of police investigator Eunice Ashiagbo, lawyer de Medeiros pointed out the admission that the act was accidental. He pleaded with the court to apply his argument in respect of the count of assault for that of causing harm, and prayed the court to grant their request as Jihad Shaban had no case to answer. The judge, Victoria Gansa, said the accused person's statement of admission from the police was enough to show he has a case to answer. She therefore ordered Jihad Shaban's legal team to open their defense. The case has been adjourned to May 3.
All right, so that particular story talks about the safety of workers and how an employee was treated following some disagreement between the worker and the owner of the company. And it actually borders on our next subject, which has to do with safety at workplaces. And today is earmarked as the World Safety at Work Day. And we want to speak to someone who has issues of safety at heart, and not only at workplaces but generally across the board, what we can do as individuals to protect ourselves at work, and then also what employers are expected to do to ensure that the workplace is safe for every individual. Nanaya Akwada is the head of the Bureau of Public Safety, and I would want to speak to him via Skype to get his thoughts on what he makes of the day and really whether Ghana is making good strides in that regard. Nanaya, good afternoon to you, and thank you very much for joining us on TV3's Midday Live.
Good afternoon, Martin. Thank you for having me. It's been a while.
Yes, it has been. To start with, do you think that across board, Ghanaian workplaces are safe enough?
Well, I think that's a very difficult question to answer because it's very difficult when it comes to occupational safety to lump up issues. So we want to take this case by case, sector by sector, industry by industry basis. But considering the fact that we are a 60-year young country and the fact that we still have a law that is over 40 years that has not been reviewed, we cannot go to bed and think that all is well. Certainly, there are a lot more things that we as a people need to do, and for which reason we issued this press statement while we mark the World Safety Day at workplace today.
Right. Nanaya, for your own safety, we would want you to sit up right so we can see you well, so you don't have any back aches due to this interview. But you are also advocating for the passage of the Occupational Safety Bill. What does that bill contain, and how would that, encourage safety at workplaces?
Well, the National Occupational Safety and Health Policy, basically, as we all know, is a guiding document, and then its accompanying bill is seeking to replace the Factories, Offices and Shops Act, which we believe that it's going to actually open up so that we have one bill that would cut across all sectors. Currently, the Factories, Offices and Shops Act of 1970, which is the primary and the foremost law that governs occupational safety and health in the country, does not cover the agri sector. It does also is very shady when it comes to the construction industry. And so what the bill, the accompanying bill to the policy is seeking to do is to spell it out more widely so that it becomes it encompasses all economic sectors. And what the policy is also seeking to do is to provide broad guidelines for what direction as a nation we should be going. And just to take you a bit deeper into the policy, when it is passed, will bring all other economic sectors under one administrative umbrella. So currently we have the Plant Protection Services Department, that is with our Greek ministry. We have the Atomic Agency, also having the Radiation Protection Board. Then we have Factories Inspectorate Department under the Ministry of Employment, which are all trying to regulate safety in one way or the other. The policy will bring all of these agencies together under one administrative umbrella. It's going to enable comprehensive collection of data, timely collection of data, and accurate data, so that we'll be able to report accurately to ILO, we'll be able to apply data to policy planning and be sure and be confident that we are doing something that has meaning.
To the benefit of the entire country. But looking at the sectors you've mentioned, they seem quite broad. I mean, from banking, education, construction, factories, agriculture, and all of that. These are quite broad. What are the timelines we're looking at ensuring that we have the bill in place, then we can use that to safeguard and check ensure that everybody is safe?
Well, as a matter of fact, we at the Bureau are still at a loss as to why successive governments are marking time on this policy. because as far back as 2013, the president then, John Dramani Mahama, did indicate on Midday 2013 that the policy is ready and it was going to be passed the following year, which is 2014. In 2014, we sent a correspondence reminding His Excellency of his own pledge or promise to the nation, and we got response to that correspondence sometime 4 months later, indicating that the president was working with agencies and blah, 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 and in due course it will be passed. As I speak to you today, that policy, which is still at the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, we are told is now at cabinet level. And so we are hoping that it has kept too long, it's gone back and forth cabinet for so long. We've gone around this whole country doing stakeholder engagement, sensitization and all. And so document that will be either at the ministry or at cabinet. We think that it is good enough to be passed, and we must pass it as soon as possible. And we indicated in our press statement that if the policy is passed even one more day, it is just too late.
All right. Nanaya, we are grateful for your time. We hope that at least by Midday, which is a few days away, Monday specifically, we will be able to hear something concrete from the current administration. Thank you very much, Nanaya Akwada. He's Executive Director for the Bureau of Public Safety, talking to us about today, which is Safety at Work Day. I hope that your workplace is safe for you, even as you watch us on Midday Live. This is where we are bringing you the stories that are making rounds in and around the country. We'll take a quick breather. When we return, we'll let you know what's happening elsewhere around the world. But before we go, though, let's go to Amansie West. Amansie West in the Ashanti region, where some women in the Amansie West district are today demonstrating against the ban on illegal mining. Our reporter, William Evans Inkum, has joined the women to find out why they're demonstrating against illegal mining.
We are coming to you live from the Amansie West enclave. In fact, it is an easy come here as far as this particular concession is concerned. There's Manso Achere, and some of the women here have been protesting vehemently against the ban on Galamsey. I will be speaking to them to find out from them why they are making so much noise as far as this particular development is concerned. As you can see, holding pickaxe and then other tools. But these were the kind of tools that in the olden days they were using to gather and sell, which has now become popularly known as Galamsey. But to these women, the ban on Galamsey will affect them adversely. So we are asking them, why are they making so much noise? Because the government means well for the country, as it has stipulated that the time has come for our lands and river bodies to be protected. But let me speak to the women. Mami, na gale yasinka yenya na emfa so emro man no, but most monti asie ade ntina mokase monti asie
mfa to yen tia asie enti ne say me to ma anko suku gale ya na hwe me ne me man me nanam say mkuta nkola ba sa aduanan e because secondary school because vast gale ya na adom me a me de hwe me man me nanam nkofo manyanka fo kura bi ka me ho anso ma bo madan say gale nti le mukasa mugu gale dia ebe si dan me so nya bi dia hwe nkora na anyanka fo yi enu nti nya ni abisa na nado onu gala no no me yenye yesere na dan na da wuruma o me yenye isho o ma nje me na wona ye ntimi nje
mame eme se me na me hu ne me se bianka wo kwafu me so esoma betena ha the whole day mo ye demonstration against Galamsey na ade
esesa ya pana nacho efisa gala no enwa na ahwe ya ma ko school ya nana mu ko school enwa ya ni adwuma bia ye ewa ha enwa na ama ya tiwiase sese nana ya pa wo chew adwuma ya wugunu sese ya ne ma ne ya nana mo ya betina ewiase sai beda ne ya didi enti ya wode ya dwato nana wonfa na nintu nyame anim no ohu ye mobo no o me nya adwuma no.
All right, so they have been recounting the kind of difficulties they are likely to face should the ban on Galamsey stays. They have been spending so much time here since morning. They have been here because this is where they mine, this is where they work, this is where they get their money. And a day without operation will affect them. This is what the women are saying. But the government is also saying that we need to protect our lands and river bodies. And the ban will also open that floodgate for the best mining practices to be ushered in, so that we will be able to maintain or to protect our lands and river bodies. But to this woman, they have or they must work. My name is William Evansinkum, and I've been coming to you live from Manso. Over to you, studios.
All right, thank you very much, William Evansinkum. I don't agree with the woman at all. If you look at the water body around where they are, it's looking dirty and brown. So what water would they want to use to wash down afterwards? We'll bring you details in our subsequent bulletins. This is still Midday Live. Stay with us. Business is next.
Are you an entrepreneur with a great business idea? Are you looking for a bright future for your business? Do you need investors for your business? Then sign up to this amazing... Captivating. Reliable.
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people of...
Credible and breaking news. Captivating. Reliable.
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people of...
Credible and breaking news. All at your fingertips.
Who's found Asamoah Gyan? Super finish!
Being on top of the news has never been easy. Visit us at www.3news.com for all your reliable news. 3 News, news at your fingertips. News.com for all your reliable news. 3 News, news at your fingertips. Captivating.
Thank you very much for staying with TV3. This is still Midday Live. Let's do business now. The evolution of technology is gradually taking a toll on transport activities of some taxi drivers in the country. Traditional taxi drivers are angered by online transport network service Uber. But Uber says it is ready to rope in some of these traditional taxi drivers to push the transport service delivery to meet customer demands.
The successes of the Uber commercial transport services in Ghana appear to have angered some taxi drivers who think that Uber is taking away their business. The online service, which comes with an application on mobile phones, has met the needs of several people with their service. This, some traditional taxi drivers argue against as they tout their plight.
We can be here the whole day, and we can get about, let's say, 100 Ghana or something, which is not good at all. We the government, you are benefit out of the revenue. If the taxi drivers are paying the revenue and the others are not paying, it's not good for us.
Uber services are limited to the urban centers and are operating in the country with its share of challenges.
GPS quality, connectivity here hasn't been that great. There are some blackout areas on the networks, and what that means is that the driver app doesn't update as quickly as it should. Getting people to get used to GPS as well, that is the driver partners, has also been a challenge. It's for some people, it's their first time using a smartphone, and although they grasp the rudiments of using the app quite quickly, some of the technical challenges that affect GPS working the way it's supposed to make it difficult for them.
Uber country lead in Ghana, Kofi Ejare, also gives a clear distinction of their activities in the country.
The thing that we like to clarify is that it's not Uber versus taxi, right? It's Uber and taxi. We're an app, really. That's all it is. We don't purchase any vehicles. We don't employ any drivers ourselves. What we do is make available this app that makes it more efficient to get riders matched up with drivers.
In the midst of all the argument of who is eligible or not in the transport business, key fact is what satisfies the customer.
Everything they do, their work, everything is perfect. Let's assume that I'm going to Osu and I take Uber. I don't need to ask the driver how much is it going to charge me or anything, because they have check your price about the journey and everything. So when you reach there, you don't need to say the driver this or that. You just receive the message on your phone and you know how much you have to pay.
Most of the taxi drivers, as our local transportation system, are still using the archaic way of getting passengers on board to render service to them. Local taxis can go online and be available, so people don't come and stand through the long queue, especially Uber renders service even in the rain.
Nonetheless, some of these traditional taxi drivers are ready to go all out to work as private car owners.
All the Ghanaian taxis supposed to spray it as a private, and we will also stop the revenue. It's and let the revenue this thing collapse.
With technology evolving every day and customer needs also changing by the day, it is evident that traditional taxi drivers would have to do more in meeting customer demand as well as making profits from their business. Nanekia Mensa Abrampa for TV3 News.
Okay, that'll be it for business on Midday Live. We'll be back with sports.
Reliable.
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people of
credible and breaking news, all at your fingertips.
Who's found Asamoah Gyan? Super finish!
Being on top of the news has never been easy. Visit us at www.3news.com for all your reliable news. 3 News. News at your fingertips. Activating. Reliable.
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people of
credible and breaking news, all at your fingertips. News.com for all your reliable news. 3 News. News at your fingertips. Activating. Reliable.
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people of
credible and breaking news. Visit us at www.3news.com
3news.com for all your reliable news. 3 News, news at your fingertips. Captivating, reliable.
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people.
Good afternoon, and it's time to bring you all the latest in the world of sports with me, Thierry, right here on Midday Live. Now, French prosecutors are investigating the bidding process for the 2018 and 2022 World Cups and have questioned former FIFA president Sepp Blatter. France's National Public Prosecutor's Office began examining the bid to award the tournaments to Russia and Qatar, respectively, last year. The French newspaper also reports that Blatter was spoken to by investigators on Thursday, April 20, as a witness. In March, FIFA passed on evidence to Swiss and United States authorities whose own investigations into alleged corruption at the football's governing body began 2 years ago. Blatter's 17-year reign as FIFA president came to an end as he was banned from all football-related activities for 8 years, later reduced to 6 in December 2015. To weightlifting now, and there have been auditions at 3 different zones as a search for Ghana's strongest man intensifies. TV3 traveled to Tamale, Kumasi and Accra in search of Season 6's contestants. Here's a wrap of the auditions from the 3 venues. With the start date for Season 6 of Ghana's Strongest just around the corner, many will look forward to possibly the most intriguing season yet. And the audition so far certainly points us in the right direction. There was a mixture of rich entertainment and sweeping energy by the athletes across the 3 auditions in Tamale, Kumasi and Takrady. The men were poised to impress the commissioners and the public present. The usual features in the main show, including Ahmed Boache, Godfred Akobila and Mustafa Ahin, were present and did not falter in their qualification to the final eliminator.
Ready to win the Strongest, because you can see the performance now. This is just beginning, and what is coming is bad. So my fans and everybody should watch out.
The ambition was clear after they eased into the next stage of the competition. The atmosphere at all 3 audition centers was electric as fans trooped in their numbers and made their voices heard in support of their favorite athletes, especially when one notable athlete, Abdurrahman, a man consistently featuring in the auditions for the last 6 years, despite failing to break into the next stage, took to the arena to try his hands on the weights. His appetite and passion was raw and perceptible, but same could not be said of his power and strength. He keeps trying, never makes a grade, but always determined to push harder. Maybe soon enough, he could set the stage alight for weightlifting fans. There was some representation of students at the auditions as well. The students from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology and another from Takrady Technical University came through, made huge impressions on the commissioners and were chosen among the more experienced to make the final eliminator in a fortnight. Yao Danso wants to make a mark in the competition.
So something like the sack race, this is my first time. Actually, I had no experience. At least I did my best, so I'm very impressed about it.
There was also a return of Dr. Nindo Hassan. He made an appearance in the Season 4, and when TV3 visited Tamale again, he was present and made it through, showing grit and the required physicality to make it through. The auditions will come to an end in Accra on Saturday, April 29, and we expect similar electric atmospheres as we experienced in the other 3 zones. More grit, physicality and strength will be on show in Accra as we build up to the start of Season 6 of Ghana's Strongest.
Ghana's Strongest, the power to do.
Talking about strong men, we go straight to the UK. Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko have sold the most tickets sold to any fight in the UK boxing history. History has already been made. Now we have the fight. Here's how they have shaped up ahead of the big bout.
I'm a challenger again. I feel young, hungry, humble, and totally obsessed with idea and my goal. to raise my hands again as the winner.
Just me and a man coming to blows, and the best man will win. April 29th is just another stepping stone towards greatness.
I'm going to fight a guy whose age is exactly the number how long I've been in boxing, 27 years.
That fight is on Saturday, and it really promises to be a mega fight. But in the world of tennis, Sharapova advanced to the quarterfinals of the Porsche Grand Prix by beating Ekaterina Makarova 5-7-5, 6-1 on Thursday. In her second match after a 15-month doping ban, Sharapova hit 9 aces and held serve throughout. All right, so on that note, we bring an end to the sports bulletin right here on Midday Live. My name is Thierry Nyan. See you some other time.
Daily exposure to different environments leads to a buildup of germs, oil, and dirt. These can cause blemishes and uneven skin tone. You need new Dettol Even Tone.
Credible and breaking news, all at your fingertips.
Who's found Asamoah Gyan? Super finish!
Being on top of the news has never been easy. Visit us at www.3news.com for all.
Thank you very much for staying with TV3. This is still Midday Live. Time now for entertainment. And ladies used to be all excited about six-packs, like what I have. Any idea of the latest men's fashion trend? Well, if you don't know, sporting a beard now is what is in vogue. Owusu Warai has more in this report.
Charlie, you need to respect the beard.
Trends come and go, but not all are able to draw an impressive appeal. The facial hair idea, or if you like, the beard trend, is fast catching on. There is an all-time high interest to keep a beard, but what really is the motivation?
I don't know what motivated it, but I think I just decided to, go with the looks.
It has been part of my brand as a musician, so people identify me with my beard, and it's a plus for me.
I just wanted to see how I'll look in beard. Yeah.
On the streets of Accra, one is certain to come across different beard styles. The bushiest, the longest, sexiest, and oh yes, there's the scruffiest. A lot of care is however required to achieve a stunning look.
You have to be trimming it occasionally, because when it's not kept nicely, it looks some way.
I think on one occasion, I was with my boss actually, and then we went to an office. So when we were leaving, then I think the manager also was like, "Hey Charlie, this is your beard here, Miss Rowe." Then I got that notion that even if I need to keep up the beard, I need to find a way to keep it well trimmed.
Enthusiasts have the freedom to actually experiment different beard shapes just to have the wow looks.
I've tried everything. There was moments I tried something like this. It was just like this. Then I had it a bit broad. I brought it here and I brought it downwards. It was a bit scary. You get people looking at you, they see you and they're like, next thing you're going to see me is going to be something else. I go wild with my beard.
What's the next thing you want to do?
Next crazy thing I would want to do, probably I'll allow it to grow it a bit broad. And then trying to write my name in there. Yes, on this side. So I have an E here, and a V here, for Evans, Yes.
The desire to keep a decent and a well-trained beard is business as usual to the barber. But then when all is done, and the guys are looking all good, how do the ladies feel about that?
It's nice, you know, you play with it. Playing with it will be so nice. Actually, when I see guys with a beard, I want to touch it. I want to have a feel of it. I think I'll go with the guy who keeps beard.
I like guys with beard.
It's a great feeling when you have people tell you that.
One lady from my church actually has warned me not to shave, you know. You should see when I post a picture on social media, you come and see the comments, and I'm like, hey, it's okay, people. What is so fancy about this beard?
But hey, not all ladies are cool with the trend.
I just don't like guys with, because, excuse me, when you're kissing and there's hair, no, I just don't like it.
To me, it's irritating.
Some guys are not so blessed to be hairy.
If you have it too, I mean, there is an item of respect because there's a pride, you have beard, you're grown, your masculinity is on point.
But all hope is not lost. There are creams and oils to have them sprouting. Nanose Bonsu owns one of such products.
I have the NOB beard oil and NOB premium beard balm for the beard. If you're interested in growing beard like me, you need it too. You need the oil. The oil will open your pores for the beard to start coming out. 1 month you should see changes.
Beard Ambassador NOB looks forward to Beard Awards to celebrate the trend.
Just watch out.
Well, whether you prefer to sport a beard or a clean shave, just make sure you nail the look.
I'm going to grow my beard. I will grow my beard so that they can play with it. All right.